We're actually going to be working on my dad's old trailer. We've got a lot of good years out of this thing, carrying wood, hauling furniture, doing all sorts of things. But this thing is definitely needing some loving. You can see we got a big old hole here in this piece of wood, and I think that's really the only rotten piece. What I'm going to try doing is actually putting some used motor oil on the top here, flipping these over, and then sanding them, and then putting a light deck coating on these just to see if we can prolong the use of that wood. We're going to be getting rid of this and exchanging one for one that has one of the wheels on the bottom and that can turn. So let's see if we can do some work on this old trailer. We're also going to be replacing the lights back here. This one, they've just broke off completely. So what we're going to end up doing is actually moving these up just a little bit, and we're going to be replacing that wood. So let's see what we can do here. One thing that I do want to point out to you guys is that you want to try to be as safe as possible. And I ain't trying to be the safety police here, nothing like that. But I know personally I have a 4-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter, and I know they like to come out and play in the driveway, and the last thing I would want is for this trailer to just come back rolling into one of them, or anything like that. So I've got it under some blocks here. Just some blocks of wood will do it, and I've actually still got it connected to the truck. I know that if they come out here, number one, they have to have shoes on, so no bare feet. And number two, I do try to get them to wear some type of glasses, whether it be sunglasses or even my safety glasses. They like acting like daddy. So I always try to put on some safety glasses. So I think what we're going to do first is actually remove this bar right here. I had actually already started grinding on it. But I did want to go over it. What we're actually going to be doing is, once we get this removed, this is what's actually keeping in the wood. They welded this in, whoever built the trailer. What we're going to do is we're going to get rid of these welds and actually just drill holes into this bar and have it coming out the other side. So that bar will actually be held in by 3 stainless steel bolts. What I did over here is I actually just used a normal grinding wheel, and I just got rid of most of the welds. What I'm going to do next is actually hit it with the cutting wheel and just kind of get within the edges there. Just didn't want to wear down my cutting wheel, so that's what we're going to be doing next. You can see actually the wood on the bottom is really not that bad. That green is what you're seeing is just a little bit of mold from being on the edge. Parked this thing out back there in the field, but as far as I can see, the wood is actually in pretty good shape. So what we'll end up doing is turning this over and staining this side. I think we're going to pressure wash. We're going to pressure wash all this and see what we can kind of get off, and then we'll paint it with some old used motor oil just to keep the moisture out of it. So, just got done pressure washing. Ended up doing both sides. This is the bottom side, and this is the side that I will end up leaving on top. And you can tell that it already looks 1,000 times better. Alright, so this is what the trailer looks like without the wood. Frame is still in great shape. Nothing wrong with it, no like big rust holes or nothing like that. This is all just surface rust. So what I'll probably end up doing is wait for it to dry, and then we'll end up just misting some truck bed liner on it. So just got done actually pressure washing the trailer. I noticed that after I had pressure washed the wood that there was still a lot of wood flakes and mold and everything else on this trailer. Just going to give you guys a good kind of before. Here's the before shot. You can see it's definitely got some surface rust. It's going to look a lot better when we throw that truck bed liner on there. Next, what we're going to be doing is moving these up to maybe that post right there, right underneath, or maybe right in front. What we're going to do is we're going to pull this right side light wire back through just a little bit, and we're going to end up cutting this bar that holds the wires. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut this back. We're not going to be having the lights back here anymore. It's not a good place for them. We're actually going to move it a little bit more up here. That way it's a little bit less likely to get hit. So in order to do that, we're going to move our wires this way rather than have them come all the way back. So what I'm going to do is just give it just a little bit of an edge, just to where I can see these wires. And what we'll end up doing is pulling them back that way. From there, we'll cut it all the way off, and then we'll run the wires this way. I'll probably have to go down there and finish pulling them. Once they clear that hole, we can finish the cut. So our wires are pulled back. We're going to finish cutting this. There you have it. It's all the way off. So in hindsight, I would have had someone help me with this, and just when they saw the wires go back, they could have said, hey, stop. Wires ready to go, and they were able to stretch to either side about exactly where we're going to put them. So next we're going to be cutting these off. Just going to be taking a cutting wheel straight down to that and breaking that off. Going to be getting this off. So next we're going to work on getting this welded to this. Of course this is coated, so we're going to be grinding down the metal towards bare metal on both of these sides. So did want to point out, I got that piece of wood that was the bad one just here on the bottom, but after I pressure washed it, I've just had these sitting out in the sun up against the house all day long. Man, I gotta say, so the board here all the way to the right is the brand new one, and these are every bit of 10 years old. You can see that that pressure washing did a heck of a lot of good. So probably we'll let these dry overnight and into the next day. So we got these welded on. We used just a cheap 110 welder. You can see that the quality of the welds is not necessarily the best, but it is strong. So what we're going to do now is going to just put a little coat of truck bed liner on this, and just to make sure it doesn't rust, and then we'll be getting our tail lights on. So just got a little bit ahead of myself, and went ahead and decided to just put a small coat of undercoating on this, and you guys can definitely see the difference. Just a cheap can of Walmart undercoating is going to really make this thing look great. So this side already had the 2 holes. We were able to reuse this piece of angle iron. However, this side, we're having to drill the holes for it. This was the new piece. And basically just work your way up with the drill bits, and you'll be able to get through that metal a lot easier. So that's what we're doing right now. Alright, we got our holes drilled. So these are just some Walmart lights here. Nothing fancy about them at all. Just wanted to give you guys the visual of what that will look like with the light on. So here we have the lights. Looks like we have 2 wires going into each light. Here on the back of the light they have, you know, green or brown. But the main reason I wanted to show you all this video is how to maybe connect one of these. If you have access to these ferrules, I would highly recommend using them. Definitely going to give it a cleaner look, and it's going to be a lot stiffer within that light rather than just a bare wire. So this was a 16 gauge wire, so we'll go to the 16 here, squeeze, and that's just going to slide right on. Ideally, you want to get it to where there's just a little bit of wire popping right out. Get your crimpers and squeeze. Definitely gives it a very clean look. So what I'll end up doing tomorrow is actually adding just like a little wire saddle here. Alright, so coming back to the trailer, we let the wood stand up all night in the garage, and we had a fan on it the whole time. And it's definitely dry. This is the bottom side of what the old pieces were. So we're going to let this dry actually overnight. I think I had said earlier that this would be a 2-day job. Looking like it's going to be a 3, maybe even 4. But definitely coming together quite well. Got one of the old boards here, actually, and we're going to see how well this oil soaks into this. Honestly, it isn't a lot different than stain. Soaks right in. Just keep it moving. Again, it's just used motor oil. We're putting this on the bottom just to make sure that it'll keep some of the water out. And it's soaking right into it. Okay, so got the first coat of used motor oil on that wood, and golly, I gotta say, it almost looks better than the stain did. The older piece took to that oil very well and soaked it in within all the grooves. So just wanted to give you all just a little bit of a before here. So I'll be setting this down and getting to spraying. Alright, so I believe that the finish on this has turned out really, really good. Gave it kind of like a flat black. As you guys can see, probably your best spot is going to be here on the wheel well. Just kind of the overall finish. And hey, this is without prep. Basically all I did was just pressure wash it and threw one coat on there. It took about 3 cans of undercoating to do this, just from Walmart. This one's still drying. We got it coated. Going to protect it a little bit more from the moisture. And overall looking really, really good. Did the rails here. Still drying over there. So next, my plan is to weld a bracket over here for the jack stand. And luckily enough, I work in a facility where they were able to cut me out one. However, if you are not that lucky, you can always use like a piece of wood or something. So step 1, just for safety, get a jack stand. So when you go to take off your old jack stand, nothing's going to fall on you. So next we're going to be mounting our trailer jack to the side here. And I was lucky enough to actually have a piece cut out from my work. Just did the 4 corners, nothing fancy, and then we'll go in, lay our beads on either side. Definitely good and solid. So in order to make it look better and be functional as well, I'm going to fill it in with some of this, just some roofing caulk. It's going on black, and I think that will definitely, it'll cover up the weld, and it's going to fill in any cracks. So I'm putting some here on the back side just kind of fill in this seam back here. Last thing we want to happen is for this to rot from the inside out. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to just cut these bolts off right here. There's nothing left of them. Alright, so I actually changed my mind. These bolts are actually threaded in and they are not coming out, and that's actually what connects to the chain. So what I'm going to do is actually just put some welds around here, that way I know for sure that it'll never come out. Once I put a little bit of roof caulking back on that, you won't know the difference. Going to grind it down, and then I think we'll go ahead and spray this with undercoating. So we'll go ahead and get our new plate undercoated, and this. So you guys can tell, got that roofing stuff on there. Already looks better. Finish is turning out great. Now I didn't get up spraying up in this. We'll probably just cover that with some used motor oil. Here's how that piece turned out. Again, everything is looking great. So even with the longer jack stand, it gets kind of hidden up underneath there. It still works great, and when we run it down, just like that. Alright, so here's our trailer, and man, I gotta say, it has turned out great. The shine on that wood, the finish of the undercoating on the trailer, everything has turned out really good. Guys, a shot of the underside here, just so you all can see how well that oil took to the wood. But it looks like it soaked it up pretty well, and I'd say that any type of water that splashes up on that's just going to bounce right off. Again, I'm no professional. All this was done less than about $150 here, and granted, I know I had some of the stuff sitting in the garage here, but really not that difficult. So what we're going to do next, y'all probably see these bars laying here. We're actually going to be welding these to the side like so, and what we'll be able to do is actually slide a board down in there, and that way they're going to act as walls and a ramp if we need it. Now the trailer is complete. Got our walls up. I think they turned out good. If you wanted to, you could have put a 12-inch. I think the only thing that we'll ever need is the 10-inch. But man, did it turn out awesome. But I think it turned out amazing. Alright, so that completes the trailer restoration. Just give it one last go around here. We'll give that side wood some time to weather, and then maybe we'll stain it next year. But honestly, I kind of like the contrast. I think it looks pretty darn good. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. Gonna try to get a lot more videos up. I mostly do tailgates, but hey, this was a branch out, and I think it worked out really, really good.